Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by, and if you're returning, you already know what the vibe is. There's always pros, there's always cons to every job, but this morning alone, I have experienced so much cons before starting my shift that I figured we might as well take this time to record. I'm actually currently supposed to be starting an infusion with one of my clients, but due to supplies not arriving per my request on Monday, we are delayed. So let's get right into the first con. The first con of home care infusion nursing is the fact that you have to literally babysit people to get things done. And I don't say that to be talking negatively about my coworkers. I know we're all very busy and we all have a lot going on. So earlier this week, I saw my client. I see this person multiple times a week, and what happened is there was an issue with the port. I don't want to say it was an issue. It wasn't giving me blood return, which is odd. Periodically that happens. I've experienced it in the hospital setting, and you kind of try to have the patient reposition, look left, look right, cough, do all of these things to try to see if it can kind of get the blood flow going. And it is a client that needs blood work, so I wasn't able to get the blood work because I couldn't get blood return, and I ended up using both of the sterile dressing kits, because if you have a port, you have to access it sterilely. It's a direct pathway to your body, to your bloodstream, and there's a high risk of infection. So with that being said, you have to use sterile dressing kits. I ended up using both of the sterile dressing kits that came with the order, because what happens is pharmacy will send you exactly what you need for your infusions. So if I'm doing 2 days, they would send me 2 sterile dressing kits. So I went through both of the kits. I immediately knew at that moment, once I talked to management to let them know that I had to try twice, didn't get blood return, because that's another thing with home care infusion. You have to constantly be in communication with your superior about anything that is not normal, and you have to be charting about it. That way there is a actual line of communication, and if anything goes on, you documented about it, you're covering yourself. And the biggest thing about being a nurse is CYA, covering your ass. Okay, if you didn't hear it before, you heard it here first. So I say all that to say, I finally got the client accessed. We got everything going. I had organized all the supplies. I knew what I needed. I immediately sent a supply request. Now, normally with the supply request, pharmacy knows to fill it for your next visit, but because I was going to be seeing them that week, I made sure to send an email tagging the supply team and my management team saying, hey, I sent out a supply order, because when I say next infusion, I mean the next scheduled one, not the one that's part of this current week care plan. So they would be assuming that this supply list is for next month. So I specified, sent an email, hey, I sent a request for supplies. Please ensure that we receive it by the next infusion date. And I made sure to CC my manager. That way it's everybody sees that I have reached out for what I needed. And I specifically said I sent a supply request. It is for this coming so-and-so date. I didn't hear back, but I also wasn't triple checking what I had sent out, because it was just a really weird busy week due to the holiday. And I also feel like I shouldn't have to babysit people, but that's another con of this job. You literally have to. If these are your clients that you see all the time and you want your workday and your plan to go as you want it to, you have to be constantly reaching out to people hey, did you see my email? Hey, did you send this out? Or checking into the chart to see if anything new has been sent out. Because anytime the pharmacy is shipping something, they will put in the note of when it was couriered, when it was sent out. Did it go by FedEx? Did it go overnight? Did it go 2 to 3 day delivery? So you can check it. So I hadn't been checking in on it, which kind of falls on me, because another con of home care infusion nursing is you take care of the care planning, so you should be checking in on those things. Even though I went out of my way to make sure that I CC'd people and sent emails and sent all my requests, I should have been triple checking. That's on me, in my mind at least. So this morning I get up, I start my day, and this is another con of home care infusion nursing. I definitely take my job seriously and I don't get like too friendly with my clients. But one thing about seeing people frequently, you get more comfortable with them, you get to know their family. Yesterday I had one of my regular clients and we switched the timing of our normal infusion, so it was like a full house, the whole family was there, all the things. Now this is a little bit of a longer infusion. Client's been doing it for a while, so I know that they tolerate it well. So of course I'm still constantly assessing, still constantly checking in, doing vitals, making sure my infusions are going correctly. But I'm also like a nurse and I'm also a warm-hearted person, so like I'm not just gonna ignore the family. So I have a good rapport with the kids as well, and one of the kids was like chatting with me and showing me one of their Christmas gifts, and you know, I'm just like in the home care setting, so you kind of have to like mold and make yourself, not make yourself, but you know, you want to be somebody who is comfortable somewhere enough so that like your clients want you to come back and they're requesting you to come back, because that's how you build your clientele with your patients. A lot of my patients that I have, they have specifically requested me because they feel comfortable with me in the home, and that's a big thing. Like if you're gonna have somebody in your house, you want to feel comfortable with them. So you know, I was finishing up the infusion, I was getting my signatures because we work off of iPads, and I had put the iPad down for a quick second because I was taking the IV out, and then also as I was cleaning up everything, putting the IV pool away, charging my pumps for the next infusion, I got distracted with something that one of the kids had said to me, and I left without taking my work iPad. So this morning, so another con is like when you're just like comfortable, you like forget important stuff, right? So this morning I'm getting ready, I get in my car, usually I have my iPad charging, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my iPad? I'm freaking out, I'm pulling over, I'm trying to figure out where it is, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I left the iPad on this kid's like Target checkout. It's the cutest thing, it's literally like a little mini Target cashier setup. I left my iPad there. So huge con, I literally am slacking on my Mackin. Like, how could I leave my iPad? I literally need that for everything. My orders are in it, I chart in it, like my email system is in it for work. So that screwed me up. But in the midst of all of that, I actually wasn't late, because as I was calling my client this morning to say, hey, like, I'm sorry I'm running behind, errors on my part, I had a technical issue talking about the iPad, and I was like, also while we're on the phone, did you get the shipment? And then they're like, what shipment? And I'm like, do you mind just checking out front? Like sometimes if they courier it, it comes like the morning of, and they're like, yeah, Kashonda, there's nothing here. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So literally I had to, I'm calling pharmacy, I picked up my iPad, I'm on my way to my next visit, and I'm like, hey guys, like I put in a supply list, and then pharmacy's like, oh, like let me pull it up, let me take a look at it. And I'm waiting, and she's like, yeah, well, you put the request in and we think it's for next time. And I was like, yes, I understand that I put a request in. Now we're gonna go back in time to when I said that I always send an email to make sure that people know what I need. I'm like, yeah, I also sent an email to the supplies team, and I CC'd management saying that I needed these supplies by this date. And then there's dead silent on the phone. Oh, hold on, Kashonda, puts me on hold, comes back. Oh my gosh, so sorry, we didn't see that. We'll courier it. It should be there within an hour. Another con of this realm of nursing, where you're in the home care setting and you're not actually like in the hospital or at an infusion suite, the communication is literally through email, or unless somebody calls you for something urgent, like, or shoots you a text on the side. So like, if you're not checking your emails, baby, it's gonna come and get you. That's another con. Like, I had to really teach myself over the past 6 or 7 months that I've been with the team, I have to be checking my email. I gotta check my email. I have to, even like if I'm having a busy shift and I haven't checked my email in a while, I gotta put a timer to be like, oh, let me check my email. Even while I'm sitting here like in the same town of where my infusion is that I'm waiting for the delivery to come for. That way, like I can just pull up and get everything going. And my iPad is dinging. It's dinging. And I'm looking to see who's emailing, because I don't want to miss anything. Like right now they're emailing me like, oh, it's black. Right now I'm getting emails, and it's about the fact that it's the new year and we have to make sure that with every patient that we see that we're getting consent again. It's the annual consent period. And like, if I didn't check that email yesterday that I first got, I would have had to wait until the next week to do my consent for somebody that I have already seen twice in the new year. So I check my emails frequently. I'm sure that there is stuff that falls like through the cracks. We're all human, like Trust me, I get it. But let me tell you, there's nothing worse than when you're when you find a work issue and you're going through like the protocols. For example, me putting in the supply request, and they're like, yeah, technically that is for next month. And also on that, you can click the date for when you need it. And I know that I clicked that I needed it for that specific date as well. And then I was like, oh my gosh, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I also sent a follow-up email right after I submitted it saying that I do need these materials for this date. And then I hear silence. Like, what date was that? They pull it up. Okay, Kashonda, we're gonna set up the courier. It should be there in about an hour. So this is just my little reminder to you guys that no matter what you do for work, there's always gonna be pros and cons. At the end of the day, I still prefer to be in the infusion field rather than bedside nursing. I think that as I work this job more, I'm like 50-50. I like really like it when I'm having really good days. But then when I have a day like this where I'm like, geez, like now my infusion's not gonna start until approximately 11 a.m. and it's a 5-hour infusion. 12, 1, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Like, I'm not going to be done until almost 4 o'clock. I was supposed to start at 9. I would have been done closer to 1:30, and I had a bunch of plans that I was gonna do for the day. Like, I was gonna do some cleaning, I was gonna go to the gym and get some cardio done, and now like it's just like by the time I get home it's probably gonna be close to 5. I lost that extra 3 hours, and it's just kind of frustrating, especially when you're trying to be productive. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it didn't seem like I was complaining. I'm just trying to like give you guys like a actual inside look on the fact that even though you leave bedside, you still deal with like housekeeping things, annoying things that get in the way of your day. Like literally today I'm actually 2 hours behind schedule, and it's off of something that I tried to prevent. So these things happen. It is what it is. What I'm saying is I'm counting the blessings. Like on days like this when it seems like everything is really, really annoying, if you feed into it and be more annoyed about it, it just is gonna be a terrible shift. So I'm just being positive. I'm gonna actually pull up to my other client's house now. I'll start getting stuff set up. That way when my shipment arrives, we can get to going. Comment down below if you have any questions about what I do for work, or if you have any questions about different nursing jobs in general. I've done a bunch of different stuff, so I can definitely chat to you guys about different realms. More life, more blessings, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.